Hello and welcome to this session. So, we are going to the second module of international marketing strategy. This module consists of the following: definition, meaning of global marketing information system, international process of market research, analysis of global opportunities, screening international marketing opportunities, criteria for selecting target countries, grouping of international marketing, analysis of international buyers and government markets. So, if we look at it very closely, what is global marketing information system? Okay, a new concept. Then you have international process of market research. It is the process of market research, and internationally the practical applications would change, but then the concepts or the steps would remain the same, right? The steps theoretically remains the same, but when you are practicing it, criteria will change, practical aspects would be different. Okay, so that you would already know. I will anyway cover it, but I'm just saying the amount of things that you're doing it again, analyzing global opportunities, the political, economical, that model, PESTEL model, screening international marketing opportunities. This we had done a comparative in my brand management. I had done an elaborate session on this, comparing various BRICS countries and then trying to find out which is the best, right? So that's what it is: screening international marketing opportunities, criteria for selecting a target country. So you decide on, you take a comparative analysis on all their GDPs, buying capacity, other political conditions, and then rank them and choose. So till this, all these things have already been done. Okay, grouping we have not done so far, so we will start off now. What is the definition of, and what is, let me start off with global marketing information system. See, this very small thing we will take here. This is a kiosk. This kiosk is in Bangalore airport, and you are having a flight from Bangalore to Amsterdam to Toronto. So this particular kiosk, when you are swiping through it, it should have your PNR number, your connecting flight from here to Amsterdam. From Amsterdam, how many hours you'll be laying in the airport. Then from there connecting to the international. So this entire thing should be there in the cloud, in the internet, should be there in the data center, and should be fed real time. So when you are actually swiping, these things are happening simultaneously across the globe, right? So this entire thing is global marketing information system. You use the same global marketing system for the kiosk, for getting information about competitors, for setting your marketing strategy, right? For finding out what are the best additions to make. So this information system is the basic, and you can use it for brand building, marketing, services, all these aspects, right? So let us see what is this global information system. A global information system, it is developed to use for a global context. As I mentioned over there, your kiosk should be connected to the cloud, otherwise you will not be able to get, because it's across the nations. Europe one stopover, then North America another, Canada another stopover. So you cannot have So you should have this information globally. Okay. Common to this class of information is the global setting. That's why I gave you all the example of an airlines. The very purpose of an airlines is to connect nationally and internationally. Process and system design, how the process between the distributors, organizers, integration. So this is the main backbone of GIS. Okay, how the process is connected globally. Technical architecture, what is the technical infrastructure for collaborating with the satellite, with the how user friendly it should be with the main office. So there are so many, and it should be on real time. So now they have included, apart from the technical infrastructure enabling, now they have added another very important word, artificial intelligence, real time reactions. So that is the thing. Support mechanisms, what are the communication, collaboration, a common man should be able to use it. So how they are doing this. Variety of example for this can be given. One of the major thing is SAP. All of you all would have heard about SAP. Okay, so it is one of those very good examples for global. So managing information system. So most of the international companies, for managing their HR, marketing, they use SAP. And let us then go to the next aspect. So what happens? There is a process and design about how you can integrate all these things. There is a technical architecture, okay, to enable this global information system. There is a support mechanism, okay, and at the end of it you have a information system that is globally accepted. A variety of examples. See this multilingual websites, okay, is an example for global information system. Okay, so if you see Japanese airlines, in their front it will be in Japanese, in the Indian side it will be in English. So all these are very important when conducting global business. So specialized research firms develop ongoing commercial database which contain information on population trait, business environment, economic forecast, okay, and this they sell it. This is global information system. I'll give you all one example of how the international companies which are into consultancy do this, and how they market this for their to their clients. It's a part of their, look at this. So this is one international consulting firm called the Deloitte. What are they doing? Their global information system. They are doing global in-house centers, GICs they are called. Look at this report 2018. So what is a GIC? GIC is a global in-house center. That means if Mercedes-Benz is going to have their R&D department in Bangalore, it will be run the same way that it is running in their parent country. Same regulations, same everything can be followed over here. Okay, so that is your GSC. In India now, Benz has got its GSC. So many companies have started their GSC because we have very good IT infrastructure. So they have, look at this manual. What is this entire thing about? They are giving, see, solution framework for GIC, global in-house. If you are Boeing and if you want to start GIC anywhere in the world, they will do the entire operations. They will help you to set up Deloitte modular solution framework for GIC, step by step, governance and compliance for each country. For GIC, what are the rules? If they have to set up a GIC, global in-house unit in India, the governance application and compliance will be totally different from if they want to start in another, say in Korea. So they will do, Deloitte will do all these compliances. See, they have given all the compliance activities, how much they will do, business ethics, which are the areas under compliance, what are all the things they would go, process, how they will set process. They have given step by step. And then process monitoring, how they will manage people, GIC people. Okay, staffing, augmentation, benefits, everything they will take care. Technology, how they will interface the technology between the parent company, between the GIC, whichever place that you are going to set up the GIC in. Okay, and then case studies of how they have helped GICs to set up their business in different parts of the world. So this is a typical example for global information system. They have a particular technology and they will be able to launch it internationally and hand over to you. Consultancy business, okay, with global information systems. Right. So the next aspect we will be looking at is, now we have seen what is global, definition of global information system, what all it comprises, and you have seen an example of how Deloitte markets their global information system for a particular industry, which is in-house GIC, global in-house companies. Right. So next we will go on to what is market research process. You are all doing this right now. So you have already formulated the problem. Yeah. Then you have done your research method. What is your research method? How are you going to, who's your target audience, who's your sample, how you are going to do this research design. You are going to do a descriptive research. Okay, descriptive research. How you are going to collect your data. 90% of you all will be collecting data through questionnaire. Sample design. You will be your target group will be nurses or students or people who are using Squiggy or people who are using Byju's app, people who are doing online training, whatever is your sample design. How you are going to collect data and analyze and interpret. What kind of hypothesis you have, how you are going to analyze it, and what is your research report. So this, whether it is international or national or local, the research procedure is the same. The steps in doing the research is the same, right? But practically, for example, this tool, practically you here you are doing it in English. If it is in Spain, you have to do it in Spain. Like that, there are so many differences that would appear when you are actually practically doing the research in an overseas place. Right. So the next aspect is analyzing global opportunity. This you have seen umpteen number of times. PESTEL, PESTEL model. What is this PESTEL model? What is the political scenario, economic scenario, socio-cultural scenario, technological scenario, environment scenario, legal scenario. Analyzing all these aspects, and then you get an opportunity. You have about 3 or 4 countries which you have shortlisted. After shortlisting, this is the first thing that you would be doing. As I mentioned to you, I have already done this for BRIC companies, BRIC countries, and I have given this example. So you will have to consider all these aspects on certain parameters and then give them weightage, and then choose a country which is the best for that particular industry, whether it's food industry or automobile or whatever. Right. So the next very important thing is analyzing global opportunities. This is something that you don't know, and we haven't done this, but this is a very, very nice data. There is this data which gives you you can actually see the opportunities, where your opportunities are from. You see this. Each of this country, let's take India. India is blue color. Okay, what is this blue indicate? European Union. What does that mean? Most of the Indian imports, what is import? Whom they are selling to, products that they are selling to, they are exporting to, are to Europe. Right? Look at this. This is United States. Where are they getting all their imports from? Pink country. Which is pink country? China. You see this? This is a beautiful opportunity, I would say, map. This map exactly tells you where your opportunity is. Right? So if you have a particular product, then you would know which country is likely that you can send your products to. Where majorly their imports today are from. How you should send, how you would have to tackle this. Look at India now. Let us look at India. So India is brown. That is, see this. So Indian exports or the imports from India are to these countries: Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka. You see? So they get all their imports from India. Right? So like this, this is a very important, I think these are some of the very important indicators for finding out opportunities, analyzing global opportunities. You will know which country is importing from whom. Okay? And then after this, there are product wise also. This only gives an indication of which country is importing to whom. After this, there are so many other aspects, like for example, which product. Right? So if you see US is here, blue. US is importing to Canada majorly and South Mexico. This part. You see, that's all is US is. So like this, if you see the major part of the world is pink, that shows that most of them are getting their imports from China. So these kind of indicators are very, very helpful to find out opportunities, what kind of product you have. So look at this. World's biggest importers 2018. So each country wise you have how much they are importing. You see Germany 1.3 trillions. Austria 193 billions. Serbia, Czech Republic. You see this? Belgium, France. Look at the amount of imports. So this will give you these kind of, it gives that world's biggest importers 2018. By how much money each one of them import, details are given. See, if India, the entire India, we are importing $511 billion. Most of our import will be oil. Okay, so what each country in what, how much billions they are importing is given here. By not by product, by amount. This map shows by amount. Look at United States, 2.6 trillions they import. Okay, so these are some of the very good, I would say, places where you screen the opportunities, screening international marketing opportunities. Next is criteria for selection. How will you select which country? Target major countries, target the environment, whether they are having internal war or those kind of things. Target country production factors, okay, whether they have ancillary products, equipments, if they are having a good support systems. If you have to, if somebody is coming and setting up manufacturing unit for aircraft in India, it will be difficult because aircraft components, I don't know how much we have, but if they are going to have railway coaches, we will be in a better advantage. Why? Because we ourselves have very good production units for railways, like that, correct? Home country factors. So this is criteria for selecting a target country. Some more criteria: state trading, monetary controls, environment protection laws. Like this, there are so many factors. Even 5 or 10 you remember and write, depending on the marks that you will be awarded, it's good enough. Right. So how will you, what is the steps for doing this? How will you screen internationally? First is identify a country, do some preliminary screening, and then do an in-depth screening, final selection, direct experience. On what basis you will do the screening? The last 3-4 slides, right? You check their GDP, their production facility, their political environment, and then their socio-economic structure, and then you decide which country to select. So with this, we have seen what is GIS, what is an example for GIS, what is market research process, and how will you screen a country for international marketing, how to whom to export your products to, and finally criteria for selecting target country. So this is the last thing. You would select step by step, you will understand the country's thing and select that this is the country I am going to do international business with, right? So the next aspect we will be covering tomorrow is grouping international marketing, right? So there are 4 or 5 groups, as I mentioned to you: American, European. So we'll go through one by one. Thank you very much.